debating the issues. We can now hear from some actual voters themselves. Now, unfortunately, we do have a bit of an imbalance here. One of our leavers has failed to arrive. So, Ian, you're on your own a little bit, but actually, happily, it reflects the sort of vote that we had here in Hove. It was 69% Remain and 31% to leave the European Union. So I suppose we're reflecting the local area here. Now, Ian, I'll start with you then. What did you make of the events today?
Well, a thorough win, really, and it showed that the country realised the MPs have to back what the referendum was all about, and they voted it through. It's good, and it shows consistency within Parliament of what people need to do and be consistent.
If it hadn't have gone that way, would you have been upset? I mean, there were talk of people, protesting in the streets.
I would have been a little bit upset, but I think it was always going to go through. You could see that with the debates going on in the House of Commons and people being pushed the right way. It's a resounding result. It's fantastic. It's really good.
Joe, as a Remain voter, a very passionate Remain voter, I imagine you're not quite as happy with how today's gone.
No, not happy because the vote, if your constituency, your MP works for your consistency, not an area. We would have won, although there's no such thing as a winner, it wouldn't have gone through. We would have still be debating, I don't think.
Callum, you're even further towards the issue. I mean, you would have been happy with this failing tonight in a second referendum.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, with the Article 50 going through, it's just giving Theresa May and the Cabinet a green light for an extreme Brexit. Yeah. And I don't think even the Leave voters were voting for that. So I'm, frankly, disappointed, but not surprised.
Well, a lot of the politicians who did vote this through tonight would have said, I'm voting for this, but it doesn't mean I want them, it doesn't give them a green light to, as you say, go off and do a hard Brexit. They want this to be the start of a negotiation process. Is that how you see this, Ian, or are you hoping that they're just going to get on with it now?
They need to get on with it. I think the country are bored of just hearing it over and over again. Get on with it, push it through, get it sorted. That's what people voted for. All the stuff we're hearing at the moment, I never heard that during any of your Sky interviews with these people. Just get on with it and push it through. And tonight shows you that's what's going to happen. And it's good. It's a good result.
It's a terrible result. It's a terrible result for the country.
That's your opinion.
My opinion, granted. But look at the borders. Look at our borders. We have a border with the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland. No one's saying what's going to happen when we leave. Do you know what's going to happen to that border?
Is that your main issue?
That's one of my main issues.
Is that what caused you to vote Remain?
I've always been Remain. I think Great Britain should be in the heart of Europe, not on the sideline. We should be the heart.
There are still so many unknowns, aren't there, as well, which I know that you were concerned, Callum, you said there shouldn't have even been a referendum in the first place.
That is one point you could argue. To be honest...
and we heard Ken Clarke say that in
yeah, quite right. Yeah, I enjoyed
that.
I did. I think it's potentially patronising to say that we should never have had a referendum, but if you look at the ballot paper, it was: do you want to remain a member of the European Union, or do you want to leave it? The whole campaign was fought very emotionally, so I don't think you can expect the public to then make a level-headed, educated political vote on something that important.
But you will say that your vote was level-headed and right?
To an extent, but I certainly wouldn't say that I didn't get emotional throughout. I'm saying, we all got ripped up into a furrow by, right-wing media and a lot of misinformation.
I'm sure that there ought to be a lot of people watching this, and probably yourself, Ian, that would find that a bit insulting, that, you're saying that passions led people down the wrong path.
Yeah.
I think we are where we are now. I think that's what we need to concentrate. We've got an end goal, need to go through that. They're relative points, and that's okay, but let's focus on where we are now. It's a great victory. It's been put through. We're one stage closer. There's nothing else that's going to stop it. It's good. It's positive.
How do you feel when people like Callum and Joe and other people who voted Remain say to you that people that voted Leave were ill-informed? They didn't have enough information. They made the wrong decision.
It's a good point. We probably were all ill-informed. Okay, so it's 50-50. I think you can only take in a certain amount. And I think on that information, like we would in a general election, we made that decision, and that's clear. I think both sides were given an equal amount of bad information as well as good.
Knowing what you know now, then, would you still have voted Leave?
Yes.
Even though, as you told me earlier, your company that you run has effectively been hit by this.
There's a much bigger picture, and the amount of time we've got here wouldn't give it justice to go through that. I think as a country that's doing really well in the world, we're in a very good position to move forward. And if you're ever going to do it, now's the time to do it. If you don't break away, there are issues on the horizon that are coming. So it is now. Yeah, personally, our company will suffer from the euro and what's going on in the world. But it's not just about me; it's about the future for our children. You know, it's important.
Does that make you feel better? That
No, absolutely not. Because we are in the position we are because we are in the heart of Europe. We have our Commonwealth. The Commonwealth go through us to go to Europe, not the other way around. You know, I just think it's a very bad decision. We should never have a referendum.
So you as well, you wouldn't have wanted a referendum in the first place? Right.
Because it has set neighbour against neighbour. It has brought up extremes and a lot of hate. And I'm sorry, I'm here. I was born here. Why are people telling me to leave?
But I suppose you could argue there are people who've been campaigning for this for decades, and that issue wouldn't have gone away if they'd have not held the vote. Perhaps that'd be one of the views. But I'm interested in the last 2 days of you know, all the debates in the Houses of Parliament. How much have you paid attention? Now, you probably have paid quite a lot of attention, but what about other people, your friends and family? Are they watching this sort of thing? Are they sort of watching all the speeches, all the hours and hours of debates?
I think there's fatigue for the whole issue at the moment among, you know, the casual observers. I think that we've had a lot of, certainly from the Remain side, a lot of people, you know, saying get over it, you know, calling us Remoaners, that sort of stuff. And you just think, you know, how much of that can you put up with? You know, there is a sense of dejection. And
There is a point of moving on, though, isn't there?
I agree. I agree.
Why should I move on when I know the decision is incorrect?
That's a great point.
Well, then what about a general election?
That's when
Where do you draw the line?
at a general election,
What about Scotland?
Scotland's another country.
We'll end up with a referendum.
Scotland is a great country, part of Great Britain, and I would hate for Scotland to leave because we've made a decision not based on fact.
Okay,
We've
well, I'm
made a
sure
decision
that would
based on other things.
that's your view. I'm
My
sure
view.
other people
My
have
view.
different views. Thank you very much for talking to us on Sky News, and we'll hopefully hear some more opinions in the next few days.